Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful evening with us on Live with Lloyd. I'm your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. Again, I'm always very thankful when those of you participate and see the shows. I have a very exciting guest. You see her right there, uh, Audrey Rumbers. She's the quantum lady. I mean, she's got quantum. I mean, she is so engaging. So I wanted her to be the first one on the show. I won't be taking readings today as such in that way. Now, if you got questions, those I will take. Wednesday, I'm going to be back. And then next Monday and Tuesday, I'm going to get back to my regular guests because I'm going to try to take as many people that call in. But in the meantime, I want to let you know that my guest is that you see right before you there. And I want to say hi, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. Um, by the way, the show today, now, believe it or not, this week the show is sponsored. And Live with Lloyd is sponsored by the Traveling Sisterhood of the Traveling Spread Retreat. They are going to have a Heal the Mother-Daughter Wound with Cardology, Numerology, and it's going to be in New Orleans on February the 22nd to the 24th. And there's uh, the website there, stshealing.com. So make sure you get your spots. They're going to have limited. Y'all can't wait to the last minute now. All right. So I wanted to thank them very much for sponsoring the show this week. And so that's where you go to put your registration in. Okay. Just that simple, folks. All right. And now we done got that out the way. And I thank my sponsor. This is my first sponsor, too, you know. Okay. Now, let me go with the cosmic forecast. Okay, this is a cosmic forecast for today. Please like, share, and subscribe. I did it. Okay. Today is Monday, the 16th of January. The sun is in Capricorn. The moon is in Scorpio. Mercury still retrograde till the 18th. Although it ends officially in 2 days, there's still the residual effect or the shadow effect as they refer to. But it is an 8 universal month, 11 universal week, a 6 universal days. So if you're Taurus, Libra, Pisces, Cancer, or born on the 6th, 7th, the 15th, 16th, 24th, 25th, well, it promises to be a good day, or at least it should have been now that the day is practically over. So without further ado, I want to bring my distinguished guest on, and her name is Audrey Rumbers. Audrey, how you doing, lady?
Hello. I'm doing wonderful, Lloyd. How are you?
Fine. Thank you for bringing in 2023.
My
Um,
pleasure. My
you
pleasure.
know, it's interesting. Every time I have you on, there's always, I mean, actually, we could go for a couple of hours, to be honest,
Truly, for
because
real.
it's about like things that have always, it's interesting. Normally, in African American communities, there's normally a challenge with math, which is used to build, and a challenge with English, which is normally communicate. So when you say to the average person in our communities, quantum physics, it sounds so foreign,
Yeah.
and yet it's incredibly simple. Can you explain it, please?
Absolutely. Because of what you're saying, I understand that. And because I want to get people interested into quantum physics, the field of quantum physics, and what it means to us as individuals, I try to use the simplest definition of quantum physics that anyone can understand. And then you can kind of build on that. And the most basic definition for quantum physics is the study of very small things. And when they start studying those very small things, such as subatomic particles, they find that the laws of physics just break down and very weird things happen. And because of that, because things change when they get on the quantum level, that created a whole new area of study called quantum physics, which just took us totally away from classical physics into a whole nother way of thinking about our reality and everything else. That's just changing everything. We're right here at the transitional point for the future.
So, but if there's subparticle, which means you can't even see with the human eye, or darn near an X-ray, or you need a special microscope, like electronic microscope, I would imagine, to just even see it. Why are such huge equipment being built to see something so infinitesimal?
Well, that's a good question. And I think the reason why they had to make it so big is because of the speed they have to shoot these particles through these tunnels. And they're going there at almost the speed of light. So when you're trying to get something to travel that fast, you have to give it some room to actually gain, momentum. And so and therefore they had to create this large circle so that these particles can gain momentum, get around, and come together and smash at the highest velocity that they possibly could create.
Okay, well, first of all, now we had one and we wanted to show the area, but can I show the machine first that people will have to
Sure.
understand what you're talking about?
Hmm.
Look at this, folks.
Yes. Now
Look at
it
that.
is the Large Hadron Collider, which is what that is the largest machine ever built. And thankfully, a lot of people are starting to talk more about this machine and things of that nature. But sometimes things get a little twisted. So I like to make sure I get people to understand that CERN is a place. It's an actual laboratory. The
And
large,
in fact, we're going to show that in a minute.
yeah, the
Go ahead,
large.
go right ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, continue. I'm sorry, dear.
The Large Hadron Collider is a thing. It is the machine that we're talking about. CERN is the place where it's housed, but CERN is not doing anything. The Large Hadron Collider, the LHC, is what's doing the actual research, the actual experimentation, the actual changes to the things that we're finding in our reality.
And for those who may not understand, to the left, just below the center on the left, you can see a man walking, which gives you a sense of the size of this machine that is built to find something so infinitesimally small, which I
Yes.
think is like deep. I mean, that's really is. And when you talk about CERN, would this be, because there was an area that you had talked about, my dear, and would this be considered it?
That is the Large Hadron Collider.
Now,
That's the collider. That's the actual machine. That circle represents the tunnels that's actually underground.
whoa, over that large
That's
space?
17 miles in circumference. So that means you would have to drive from point A to get back to point A. You would have to drive 17 miles. That's huge. That's unbelievably huge. And they're thinking about building one that's 10 times larger than this one.
And where's this located?
This is located in Geneva, Switzerland, on the border between Geneva, Switzerland, and France. So it covers both countries.
That's amazing.
It is.
Now, didn't you talk about a famous doctor, Dr. Gates, or something that was very important in kind of raising some of the awareness of quantum physics?
Yes, well, more than quantum physics, what he did was he discovered some things that kind of changed the way that you kind of think of our reality of this world that we live in. And what he did was he found computer code embedded in nature.
What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. What does he mean by that? And you have to get him to explain to you what he actually means, because it gets even deeper than that, because he says that the code that he found, and this is mathematical equations that they're talking about, right? That they use in order to define our world, our reality. They use mathematical equations. So the one that he came up with indicated that computer code was embedded in nature, which kind of makes us say, well, what is this? If something like that can be found embedded, it's in it. You know what I'm saying? It's not.
Yeah.
It's a part of it. You can't take it apart. The computer code, you can't take that away from this reality. So that's something very big. But then also, what amazes me about Dr. Gates, I this man is so brilliant, because he found a mathematical equation, right, in nature, and he equated it to Adinkra symbols, which are symbols that come from West Africa and Ghana. and they're called Adinkra symbols, and they represent different things. The one that I love is the Sankofa, because it's about going back into the past, gaining knowledge and bringing it to the future, which is kind of what I feel like I've been doing for all these years. So for him, as a melanated physicist, to make the connection between ancient West African symbols and quantum physics, I thought that was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Well, we are amazing, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
We really are.
For
Not to
sure.
take nothing away, not to take anything away from anybody else, but it's not to take anything away from us either. We are amazing.
Yes.
There's no question. And speaking of amazing, now let me ask you this though. When this quantum physics, or the smallest infinite invisible nanoparticle, whatever they call that thing, is found, then what's the result? So once they find it, then does it make sense?
So when you say once they find it,
Yes.
well, they've already found it. It was the Higgs boson, which was the Higgs boson
That's
particle.
what they asked, who's he?
Yeah, well, that's a particle that
that
was a particle that they imagined was there, existed, right? But they had never been able to prove its existence. And they were able to prove the existence of this particle that is so small, because you have to understand, Hadron is a class of particles. That's why they call it the Large Hadron Collider, because they collide this class of particles together. Hadron particles are very, very small particles. I mean, like subatomic particles are the particles that make up atoms, like protons, neutrons, electrons. But they're saying, okay, what are those made of? Right? So then that's where you come into the smashing, the colliding together, because you have these subatomic particles. In order to see what they're made of, we're smashing them together, and we're finding out they're finding quarks and all sorts of weird names they give to these particles.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I lost my thought for a minute.
No, but here's the thing, though. Can you tell people your background there in Detroit that led you to have this kind of discussion at Wayne University?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I guess I should have started off with that. I said tell it so much, I think everybody already knows, but no, everyone doesn't know that I worked in the physics department at Wayne State University for like almost 20 years. And during that time, I worked on the largest research collaboration for quantum physics in the world, called the Large Hadron Collider. So this is a collaboration of all over the world that created this system. Well, I happened to work for the person who was in charge of all the U.S. institutions involved in ALICE. And his name was Thomas Cormier, who unfortunately he passed away last year. But the man was brilliant, and I worked with him for 20 years. And to have the opportunity to work with the people who were building this, well, I guess I was a part of building it also, but they were part of the science. And to have everyone talking about this and what we were going to do and what possibly destroy the world or create a black hole, so many different things people were saying could go on. And there were so many different questions about, what we were doing. So to be able to work with these people every day, these are the same scientists that are working, who created this machine, was like an unbelievable experience once I understood where I was, right? Because when I got the job, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I didn't know anything about quantum physics. I just wanted to make more money and maybe, a higher position. And so, but when I got there, and after I had been working there for, maybe a year or so, I would find out that online, I would go online on YouTube, and I hear people talking about CERN and this and that. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm working on CERN. What are you talking about? So then it just became this thing where I would go home and I would do all this research and listen to all these people talking about what we were doing. Then I would go to work like normal, but I would have a different perspective. Right. So I would take that information I would get online, and I would go to work and ask them about it. And one of the first things I asked was, is it true that we could create a black hole that destroyed the Earth?
Interesting.
And yeah, that was something that, because you hear things online, and they'll say, well, some things aren't true and things that nature. So I went to the horse's mouth to say, is this true? I went to my boss, Tom, one day, and I was expecting him to tell me, no, that's not possible. That's just internet talk. But he told me the exact opposite. He says, well, yes, it is possible that we could create a black hole, but if we did, it would be so small that it would burn itself out in less than a second, fraction of a second. So that intrigued me because the answer was not no, and I
Yeah.
know that science has a habit of doing things and expecting one result and getting a different one. So since this was new science for me, I'm like, well, maybe we could create a black hole to destroy the Earth. That is still in the realm of possibilities. So thinking that we were dealing with that kind of power, I was totally amazed by that.
But see, my question is, why would man want to even think about developing something to destroy the earth?
Well, I don't think their intention would be to destroy the earth, but what it is that you're dealing with such powerful, energies that can happen.
I see
You know
what you're
what I'm
saying.
saying?
Okay.
Yeah, but of course that's not their intent. They have a lot of different intents, but I don't think that's it. But what they're doing, I don't think a lot of people realize how what they're doing at the Large Hadron Collider is affecting everything and everyone on such a level that we can't even imagine. That's what I'm saying. The power that they are dealing with, the energy levels that they're dealing with are unheard of. We're just going into a science fiction. Serious science fiction has become science fact, and it's here and it's now, and we're the ones that are here for the change, because this is a time of transition.
Well, how can, for those that want to kind of know about it, because also you talked about this symbol here too. What is this that you had me display the last time we were on a conversation, this hologram?
Yeah, that represents the holographic universe, and
What do
and
you
and
mean?
that is, well, okay, think about it. If you can find computer code embedded in nature, computer code is not real, right? I mean, it's like ones and zeros, and it creates certain images and things of that nature. So imagine on a larger scale, just kind of trying to imagine that this world is like a hologram. It's like a computer code, because that's what Dr. Gates is saying. That's embedded in our nature, in our reality. So therefore, is that what are we saying here? It seems that we are saying that this reality that we're living in is not so much the real reality. Is a hologram. It's almost like a shadow of the real reality that really exists. And I know that sounds crazy because we think we exist, but we may not exist in the way that we think we exist. You know what I'm
Hold up,
saying?
hold up. You mean I'm not existing the way I think I exist? Is that
No,
what you're
you're not.
saying?
Okay, for instance, one of the main things, another thing that I talked with my boss about was the fact that we never ever touch anything, and
What do
we
you
think,
mean?
yeah, exactly. I mean that whenever, like me sitting in this chair, I'm thinking that I'm touching the chair, my body is touching the chair, but in actuality, what is happening is there's a force field around me that's touching the force field around the chair. So that's what's touching. But what's inside the force field, which is me, I'm not touching the chair. That's not touching the chair. You see, so we all have this field around us that's holding us into this shape, right? So in a hologram, okay, it's so amazing because so many things happen can be so many things that can be explained that at one point couldn't be explained. Now, when you're talking about what if this is a hologram, what if this reality we're living in is a hologram, then it would explain a lot of things like the placebo effect, and how we can maybe do things like walk through walls. How can you walk through a wall? Well, if it's a hologram, and if you get on the right frequency, you see, just like if I was on a different frequency, I could slip through this. If I could go past this chair. If I'm vibrating in the same frequency as the chair, it's like we're one, and I can just move through it like that.
That's kind of deep,
We're all frequency. It's not physical, but it feels physical. Yes, but it's not. And it's just like the holograms that we make ourselves. When you put on those visors now,
Yeah,
VR,
yeah, yeah,
virtual
yeah.
reality, and it takes you into a place, even though you're here, but it takes you there. You're there in here, right? Because you're in there and you're interacting in this space and you feel like you're there, but you're really not.
Is that good? Because I've seen some of those where people walk into a wall, they trip over this or that.
Well, yeah, because see, that's our clumsy way of doing virtual reality. Of course, we're going to get better at it, but right
Okay.
now, I remember someone said, if you want to know how advanced the society is, look at their toys. Look at their toys.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to understand how advanced a civilization is, look at their toys. Look at our toys. Our toys are unbelievable. We're so used to it, but when you really think about it, it's like my 4-year-old grandson was telling me about, I want the picture to stop glitching. And he already knows what glitching means, to him. He understands, the picture is glitching. I'm like, wow, when did you learn glitching?
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because this time we're living in is so unbelievable. So many things that we thought we couldn't do, we can do. And that's what I'm saying. This is all about all this technology, all of these things that we're doing. That's wonderful. That's great. But I'm saying that right there means something else, because just like all this technology is changing and growing and evolving, so are we. And that's the main thing that I want to focus on, is what this age means to us. What's the changes in us, not so much outside of us. What are the changes that are going on inside of us, making us different than what we used to be? And it starts, first of all, with how we think. That's the first thing that starts to change.
And that's so amazing, because this year, 2023, is a 7, which I call also the law of attraction, that what you think is what you attract. So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
based on what you're thinking and attracting. That's what will come to you this particular year.
Yeah.
Now, there's something else that when I met you, it wasn't over quantum physics.
Mhm.
It was over a pyramid, a most interesting, one of a kind pyramid. How did you? It's a Orgone pyramid. First of all, what is an Orgone for those that may not be familiar with the term?
Okay, Orgone is a energy that is surrounding us all the time, and it's all about tapping into it. And there was a guy back in, I always forget, it was like in the 1940s, maybe 40s or
Mm-hmm.
50s, named Wilhelm Reich. And Wilhelm Reich was studying this energy. And he's studying it. He started to use it and experiment with it. And he realized that he could tap into it and change things. And so even though he knew this back then, the people weren't ready for that information, what he was saying. And he was saying the simple way of tapping into this energy, you use resins and metals, which sounds crazy, but he did it. He created these devices that could heal people. He created boxes to heal them in, and he was using this energy called Orgone energy, and he was trying to tell us how to tap into it. So from then, fast forward to the 2000s, people started bringing him back up. People started making these little Orgone devices with muffin tins, very simple, very, very simple devices. And I was getting into it too, because I was starting to understand that there are energies that we think are so hard for us to tap into, but they aren't. But we just have to understand, how to do it. And so I started off making these little Orgone devices, is what I call them, and they were working. But I'm making these devices, and I'm at work, and I'm still, this quantum physics thing is, I'm like, because my thing was, Wilhelm Reich came up with this idea back then, and my thought was, what would he be thinking if he were here now? You see. So I said, so where would the evolution of thought would be? Because of course, that's not the only way to tap into it. Of course, we know there are many ways to do different things. So when I saw what he was talking about back then, I said, well, wow, what would he be saying now? We're in this quantum physics age. How would he use this information, this knowledge? So I kind of, took what he was saying and started, and that's how I started off making them and making, dealing with Orgone energy, period. And then I started thinking further and further and thinking about the ancient. There's so many different pieces that comes into when you come up with something like this. The quantum physics, because I said all of this knowledge that I was gaining working with these people and with this research is like I had to learn how to apply it, because I really believed that this was real. These people were actual people. These were serious people who were telling me that something seemed so unbelievable was true.
Yeah.
But I think, I ever since I was younger, I was always into science fiction, and I used to read Ray Bradbury. I don't know if anyone, he's a older science fiction.
No, he's one of the original sci-fi.
But excellent, and so I was always into science fiction. This is what's so crazy. I never would have believed that, when I grew up, that I would actually be a part of this science fiction that's become science fact. And that's why I think I was able to understand a lot of the concepts that they were discussing in quantum physics, because they talk about it a lot in science fiction. So if you've ever been into science fiction, it's not seems so impossible, the things that they're saying that we would be capable of doing and things of that nature. So all of these different elements, came together for me. The fact that I was studying ancient history, all of these things made me see the connection between the future and the past. So all of these things, all of these years, just this steady thing, like what is all this leading up to? And I finally realized that I had to apply the knowledge, because if I didn't apply what I knew, if I just sat on it and said, oh, I just know all of this stuff and I can talk about it, but how can I apply it, which is the most important thing? And I have been studying the pyramids and how the pyramids were made. And when I learned about Orgone energy, I started to think that the pyramids were like Orgone devices. This is what I was just thinking to myself, because I'm saying they're all over the world. And I learned about the peace of the ancient world, at a point they had, thousands of years of peace, especially in Egypt. So I'm like, okay, what was it? So then when I started, studying the pyramids and things of that nature, I just made a connection with the energies that they were possibly emitting, that kind of chilled everybody out. So I'm sorry.
No. I was going to say, though, to me, though, you put such creativity into it. It's like, where do you start? How do you put it together? Like, for example, I want to show this pyramid that you look at that one. Now you got the Ankh, you got some bullet pellets or something like that.
Proper BBs.
Yeah, how you do this?
Well, now how did I come up with the design? Because during the time I was working on the LHC project, I was also studying ancient Egypt. And the ancient Egyptians would combine their art, science, and their spirituality. And that's basically what I've done with my pyramids. I took that same concept.
That's deep.
Combining all of these things. So you can say, oh, it's a pretty object. That's the art. The science, the fiber optics that I put into it, the quartz crystal, rose quartz crystal, all of those are the science of it. And the spirituality part comes with the symbols and things of that nature. And I just put it all together in order to create this device to change the energy.
What about this one? This is beautiful. Look at that.
That one,
that's like an emerald.
Yeah, that one is a pyramid that represents the golden ratio. And it is that spiral right there is what most people who know about the golden ratio will know it when they see it. And I just try to create something that's attractive to the eye and that's going to resonate with someone, that's going to bring that energy into their environment, and all of it comes together. All of the energy is one energy. It seems divided, but it's not. So every pyramid is like, in my mind's eye, I see all of the energy of every pyramid that's out there coming together to create, to change things, which I think I have.
Like what this one? Look at there. That looks like the moon. That's the moon, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a
Look at
full
that.
moon. Yeah, I kind of trying to make it like a full moon rising. That was my idea.
That
And
is so deep. That I mean, you just outdid yourself with these. This is amazing, and they're all one of a kind. Am I right?
yes, yes.
Yeah, these are not no boilerplate pyramids, folks. When you get these, you have a one of a kind in your possession. Let me be very clear. So, what inspired this one?
It just depends on what I'm thinking of. At the time, certain things just hit me. I can't explain it. I just go with the flow. I just go with the way I feel, and I'll start making pyramids with full moons, because I don't know, I may have read something or something that just made me say, oh wow, that's a great idea. So then I start making those.
Well, what about this one? Now,
Now
this one has a story behind it. You said.
yes, that one I love, because the I call this one melanated yoga, because there's a black artist. She's a female, and she creates these pieces that I absolutely love. And this one, I just saw I just saw a black woman doing yoga, like the way we do yoga. Like, I don't know. I just love it. I love her pieces. So whenever I get a chance, I'm always putting her pieces into my pyramid.
I don't know how you come up with these ideas. Like, look at that one. That's like awesome. How'd you do that? And where
Yeah.
do I'm asking you these questions like you're going to reveal your secrets to me, but like, where do you find these things at to go in there? I mean, what's in your imagination? How do you start? It's like, there
You
should be
know,
a story behind what you do from start to finish with one of these. I think it's amazing, Audrey.
yeah, well, thank you. But I just, if I'm watching a documentary or something, and they may have talk about something, something spiritual or something like that, and I'll just think of and just want to get something that represents it. So it's like I said, my pyramids basically make themselves. I start them off, and then it goes from there
They
until.
kind of take over themselves, huh?
Mhm, absolutely.
Is this also how you select your colors too?
They're just all colors. I just, there's no real rhyme or reason besides the basic foundation of the pyramid has to have fiber optics, a rose quartz crystal, and metals, usually copper. 95% of the time, I'm going to use copper. Everything else is up in the air.
Let me show this last one here. This one is like, wow, look at that.
Yeah, I love
How
that
you choose
purple.
the colors and
Yeah, I
the
just,
symbols. And I mean, it's just, and I mean, you sent me one that, boy, I was just blown away. I got that in a special part of my bedroom that you sent me. I
yeah.
would show it, but no, I mean, that thing is amazing. I don't know how you did that. I really, really don't. But this is a nice testament. Now, are these pyramids available that we
Oh,
see here?
absolutely. Yeah, you can go on my site, which is audronite.com. And I have a selection of pyramids up there, and I'm always putting new ones up. So if you don't see anything that resonates with you, right away, be patient. I'm
Let me
sure.
put the banner on there. And this is how you get in contact with her. Quantum physics, Orgone pyramid creator. She's a lecturer. She's a teacher. She's a mother, grandmother. She's awesome. Okay, her birthday's tomorrow too. So
Yes.
we ain't gonna sing your birthday now. I'm not gonna mess up your birthday tomorrow, but birthday's tomorrow, okay? You contact her at 313-758-1381. That's 313, and she will take your call. So if
Absolutely.
some of y'all got some ideas that you see that inspired you through either the quantum physics portion or this portion here in the pyramids, that's why she gave her number 313-758-1381. And her site is orgonite.com. And when you go to her site, you think you saw this here. I mean, the one time I had on the show, there was so many, I didn't even know which one to pick. I must have had about 20. And I says, okay, I need to stop because it was just, I don't know how you do it where you just make a one of a kind. I don't know how you do that. They're
Well,
all
it's like,
one. That's it.
because well, when I started making them, I had to make a choice that I want to do mass production of, like, make all the same ones, a bunch of all the same ones. But in my mind, every person is different. No matter, we're so much alike, but we're so different. And I
True.
just wanted to say, I have something that resonates with a person, right? And it's not, when you get something that's one of a kind and it resonates with you, there's a different feel than if you get something that everyone has. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different feel to it. And I wanted people to feel that when they got their pyramid, that was the pyramid that was meant for them. That was a pyramid or meant for their friend or whomever. Because we did say with this time we were going to talk about some of the things that people have said has happened since they received the pyramid.
Yes, definitely.
Because what we were saying is that, you make these pyramids, but how do you know they work? You know what I'm saying?
And you got testimonials too.
Exactly. And I'm saying, this is what I'm saying, because I'm a skeptical person, so if you tell me something like that you have something that could possibly help my life or change my life in some kind of way, I need to see evidence of it. And I don't see anything wrong with that, right? Because I need to see evidence. When I first started doing it, was it just me, or was this some energy that was really all around? So I found out that it was.
Oh, can you share some of your examples of some of the things that you told? I mean, it almost sounds astounding.
Yeah, hold on. Wait a minute. Let me. Oh, there we go. I thought my power was gone. But anyway, sure, absolutely. Of course, I have my faves that you've heard it, but they're just so powerful to me that I have to tell the stories because these things happen. And the first one is with my cousin. And my cousin called me. This was a few years ago now, but she called me one day and she said, "Audrey, I'm having such negative, bad luck. Everything is going wrong." She was telling me she had went to emergency because she wasn't feeling well, and just things with just negative energy. And she's like, "I need a pyramid, right?" And so I'm so impressed because, oh my gosh, she actually believes in this for her to ask me for that. So I got a pyramid. I went over to her house. We're sitting in her bedroom and we're talking. She's telling me everything about what was going on and this and that and the other. And then at one point in the story, she told me, she says, "Yeah, I've gone to emergency like 3 times because she was having really bad headaches. And every time she would go to emergency, they told her that it was stress. And she was saying, I don't feel like I'm under that kind of stress. But she says, well, Audrey, sometimes I feel like I'm dying." And I was like, wow. That's a deep statement to say you feel that way. So I said, wait a minute, let me take this pyramid out. So I took my pyramid out the bag and I put it on her dresser. And not 5 minutes later, we start hearing this beeping sound. And I asked her, I was like, what is that beeping sound? And she said, that's my carbon monoxide detector. And I looked at her and she looked at me and I'm like, okay, what is it going off? Because we're feeling fine, So we call 911. Fire department comes out. They use their detector. They go upstairs, come back downstairs and says, everybody out of this house. Everybody out now. Open all these windows. He said the carbon monoxide. He said the carbon monoxide levels was so high and that upstairs, it was off the charts. And if they had stayed in that house one more day, slept in that house one more day, all of them would have been dead. That's what the fireman told me.
Wow.
And my cousin was like, Audrey, you saved our lives. You saved our lives. I'm like, well, okay. It is a coincidence, that is amazing.
Yeah. And you also make pyramids, small ones for the dashboard of cars that go on.
Yes.
I got some as gifts, and the guys that I got them to, they told me some interesting stories. That's like amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Really,
I mean,
really
you have to experience it to believe it. I mean, I understand this is true. I mean, because for people to come back and tell me, even after a year, sometimes
Okay, I don't know what happened, folks. We'll see what happens. Anyway, what I'll do is I will focus on. I'll go over to this section first, and soon as she joins us, uh, we'll be back. But in the meantime, though, I do want to do this. First of all, I need to thank my moderator who has kept things in order, and I also want to thank many of you because you didn't know I would have a guest where would be that. But until she comes back, there are some people. One of the first ones that called in today was Neo York Queena, I guess for you. Anyway, happy Monday. She is born February the 18th, so her birthday is in 2 days. All righty. So, okay. So anyway, I don't know what happened. Maybe her power went out. Oh, hold on one second, please. Audrey.
Okay, so my battery ran out. I thought it said that it was going low, and I pushed it back in, and then it must not have connected. So, okay, so my computer shut off.
That's all right. That's all right. You still on the phone. In fact, people can still hear you. I was going to do a reading a second, but what I want to do though is kind of a little ahead of time. But what we do is let people know. By the way, can people get in touch with you over and above this too? To hold on, let me put this on the screen. And this is again is Audrey Rumbers' number, and this is how you reach out to her. Now, for those of you who were definitely into the sci-fi, the quantum physics, and things of that nature, give Audrey Rumbers a call. She would love to hear from you. Seriously, she's a walking storehouse of knowledge, and she puts all that enthusiasm into it, which is why I wanted her to be my first guest. And her site is orgonite.com. So you saw 7 of them. If you want to see them, they're all one of a kind. So you can't say I'll wait till next month and get it, because if you wait till next month, that's going to be gone. She makes them on a per order basis, okay? But they're always one at a time, and they're always very original. And you can also email her too at orgonite 777 at gmail.com. And her IG, her Instagram is also orgonite 777. So those of you, if you don't want to go to her website, orgonite.com, just go to orgonite 777. And by the way, her Cash App, please show her some love. Her Cash App is Orgonite $AU. I think we are back. I think we are back. That's how it goes. Okay. All righty. Okay.
I totally ran out of gas. I didn't realize I was, but
Well, Mercury's retrograde. Listen, my lights have gone off. Okay. I mean, I've had a whole lot of things happening.
I
But
just
you know what?
can't
I
get
get
straight
better
through the
with
whole
each
show.
show. I try to make sure everything is all charged up.
Right.
Uh,
Of course, it was going so well, but that's the way
it's
it is.
still going well.
I'm trying to
It's still
just
going
go
well.
like,
We haven't lost you.
yeah.
But in all fairness, let me read the one person I promised I would read her in the comments, and she was born on February the 18th. That's her birthday. So I did do that. So I'm not going to leave her like that. But I can tell you this: you are, young lady, a heirs. This is her right here. Okay, good. She is a air sign with a fire number, which means she is feisty. She's born in 1986, so the year she's born in indicates that at some point she's going to do very well in the end, like become a property owner of property and things of that nature. This particular year, she's in a 9 personal year, and you happen to be born on the 18th of the month. 1 + 8 is 9. So the point is, young lady, whenever your personal year is matching your date of birth on point, like if a person's in a 7 personal year and they're born on a 7, well, you're in a 9 personal year, born on a number 9. 1 + 8 is 9. So therefore, this is going to be a year that's even more significant for you than, let's say, I was going through a 9 personal year, which I'm not. So, but if I was, it wouldn't be as impactful for you or anybody that's born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th of the month going through this experience. Okay. So somebody said, check my email. I will certainly do that. But in the meantime, I want to make sure I brought my guest back on, and this is how you get in touch with her. So, Audrey, now let me ask you this. So what's next for you? What's next? Quantum physics, pyramids, books, TV,
You know
radio appearances. What's up?
I told you, you encouraged me to write that book, and I'm right now, I'm in the process of doing that. I'm gathering all the information, and it's going to put it together in a, in a nice, yeah. So that's what's my goal now. But I'm telling you right now, Lloyd, so many things are going on that are things that I knew were happening, but most people didn't know. And so now to find other people that are awakening to all these different things, all these things that they are seeing, and they're starting to think differently about their world, about their reality. And I'm so happy to see it, because I knew in order for us to make the change, we had to change the conversation. And this conversation had to change to represent what is our new reality.
Well, the younger generation especially seem to be more impactful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
I find a lot
they
of
can work, and your granddaughter or grandson can work your phone better than you and I.
Absolutely. Yes. This is what I'm saying. They're ready. They're ready for the changes. They can see the possibilities that people of my generation can't see, but they were built for this world, so I'm trying to hang on to them seriously, because I'm so excited about what's going on and what I see happening, and the revelations and the awakenings that I see people are going through. I mean, this is what I mean when I know things are really changing. My son came to me one day and he says, "Ma, do you know that Jordy Rose is on World Star?" And World Star is Jordy Rose is a physicist, and he talks about the D-Wave computer, which is a quantum computer, and he talks about that, and he talks about AI. Now, when Jordy Rose is on World Star, that means that the information is getting down to all of us.
Now, what is World Star? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that one.
World Star is a site where they do a lot of things. I don't go on World Star because it's all the lowbrow stuff. You know what I'm saying? Lowbrow humor, violence, some things like that. So not a place where you would expect to see a physicist. Something
much less your son come to tell you he saw him on that platform.
Absolutely. And I was like, wow, that was amazing to hear. So that's why I know the information is getting out to all of us, even those of us who don't think that it's something that interests us or it has something to do with us, but it's getting down to everyone, because everyone needs to understand what's happening.
Well, what you're saying, I think, Audrey, is that there's going to be a point where none of us will be able to escape the influence of what's going on. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, because you'll notice people will throw around the word quantum just to make me sound impressive. Quantum detergent, you know what I'm saying? But that's okay. That's fine, because we have to get used to this concept and what it means to us and how we can relate to it and make things better.
Now, when they talk about the metaverse and the matrix, is that one and the same, or is that alternate words, or what do you think?
No, well,
from your vantage point, with your
yeah, from my vantage point, the matrix is the larger, the larger platform. The metaverse is inside the matrix. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, because the matrix is everything. It's everywhere. It's we're living in it right now. We really are.
Yeah, I think it's amazing, because there was a melanated woman that actually came up with that term that stuck through the making of Matrix and the Terminator. Sophia Stewart.
She's the mother of the Matrix. Yeah,
she's the mother of the Matrix.
I've had the opportunity to speak with her. That's what I mean. How the universe.
And she did that in college in 1981. She wrote that in 1981.
Yeah.
And at the time when she submitted it to the people in Hollywood, they didn't have the technology for the, shall we say, the graphics or whatever, the special effects. It
Yes.
wasn't even ready. That's how deep it was. So
Yes.
I mean, so it's just amazing that you would think a woman born in New York City would go to California and submit a screenplay that would wind up making billions of dollars for Hollywood.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Well,
saying? And
that sounds familiar.
yeah, and her book was
Black
called
people's
The Third
ideas
Eye.
being, you
Yeah,
know.
being taken advantage of.
Hmm.
And it's actually it's not just black people. I'm finding that people, regardless, people will be taken advantage of regardless of the color. They took advantage of
Hmm.
Nikolai Tesla, okay?
Yes.
All
Hmm.
that. So it
Yes, for
really
sure.
makes no difference. It's just, I guess, I don't know what it's called, a dog eat dog world or philosophy or attitude, and only the very powerful will survive, and that's not going to work. They'll just have more money and make lives a little easier, I'd say.
Yeah.
But are we all in this boat together, believe it or not?
Yes. Yes, we
No one,
are.
no one makes it by themselves.
Yeah. Sink or swim. It's all about us.
Now, so wasn't there some documentary or something on you one time about your pyramids, or wasn't there something about you, or was I mistaken, or did I see something, or
No,
was that in my imagination?
the documentary hasn't come yet, but I'm sure it will be here in the future.
Good.
I'm
That's
sure.
in my imagination. Now, I will ask you a question as a pyramid creator.
Mhm.
When you make the pyramid, you make them in three sizes. One is large, medium, and small. The small goes on the dashboard of the cars, then the medium, then you make the large. The large, which is the most magnificent of all of them, from start to finish, how long does it take you? Or it all depends on how things are flowing, how you get in your equipment, or your little things for your ideas that you put it all together in the pyramid. And then how do you seal it up? And then how you put the fiberglass on it? See, I got tons of questions for you.
Yeah. Well, because in actuality, it's there is there's it's I built it from scratch. Right, so the liquid hardens. I use a resin, so that's it hardens, so everything is liquid until it all hardens and it comes together into one piece. So it's like built layer by layer by layer, kind of in the way that the original pyramids were built, layer by layer by layer. You see there's still the
Interesting.
similarity in the way
Interesting.
that I create mines in the way that they were created originally.
Yeah,
you know
interesting.
yeah, so
Okay.
it's basically a layering process. I have a mold. I start off with a pyramid mold, and they're not all small, medium, large. They can be a little bit smaller than the small. It can be a little bit larger than large. It all depends on how they come out. That's what I'm saying. I never know. And what
So
I
they're actually individually made for whoever that lucky person is that orders your
absolutely,
pyramid.
absolutely,
That means it was meant for them.
yes, yes, yes. Oh
Well,
yeah, stories. That's where we had left off. I was telling you stories because I want to let you know
oh
that
yeah, the last
it's
story.
real.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So okay, let's see. Uh, the one about the lady who I gave her a pyramid. She worked at the store around my mom's house, and she said she wanted another pyramid. So I got her another pyramid. Fine. She was going to give it to her daughter. So a couple of weeks later, I go back into the store and she's calling me. She's like, I want to talk to you. So I come back over there and she says, that pyramid that I told you I was going to give to my daughter? I said, yeah. She says, well, I didn't give it to my daughter. I gave it to my coworker because she just lost her son. I said, oh, okay, well, that was nice. She said, and I felt like she needed the positive energy more than my daughter. And so she said the next day, her coworker came into the store and said that her son's picture flew off the wall. And I said, it flew
Really?
off the wall. She says, yeah. She said it flew off the wall. And she said she came in and she played his birthday, which was December 3rd. And she said his birthday came out straight, 1, 2, 3. And I told her, I said, that's her son telling her he's okay. She's like, yes, yes. And that made me feel so confident when I knew, because I can't imagine, I don't know who this lady is that she's
Yeah.
speaking about, but for her to bring me back when she saw me, because it was a couple of weeks before I came back into the store, but she was waiting on me to come back so she could tell me what happened. I can't make these stories up.
Yeah. There was another one where a person, he had a restless sleep, then he started sleeping better or something like that. I mean, you got
Yes,
all kinds of stories.
yes. That was one. I had made a pyramid for a lady, And she told me after a couple of weeks, she called me and she says, Audrey, I want you to make me another pyramid exactly like the one you made me, exactly like the one you made. And I said, well, wait a minute, why? Why is this? And she said that her husband, who was a veteran, would have post-traumatic stress nightmares. And she said he told her, because she brought the pyramid and put it in the bedroom. And she said that her husband told her that ever since that pyramid was in their bedroom, he wasn't having any nightmares. And she was like, wait a minute, that's my pyramid. I said, no. It doesn't work like that. You may be the one that brought the energy in, but it's not your energy.
Yeah, that was her role. Her role was to bring it.
Exactly. And so, I'm just saying, when people like that tell me things, this is a very, serious person who has serious issues, for him to say, wait a minute. And that's what I tell people. When you get a pyramid, the only thing I ask them to do is pay attention.
Yes. Yes.
Pay attention.
Yes.
And that's
no matter how subtle. Well, I know this as a testament. I have 4 of them. I have 4 pyramids.
Okay? Absolutely.
And I got them strategically placed. I mean, they're just beautiful. They're just beautiful. And when you have this black light and you shine it from the top, I don't know how you do that fiberglass thing, but that's the most amazing.
The fiber optics.
Yeah, well, whatever that is.
Yeah, well, see, that's the science part of it. That's what I'm saying is all of the different elements, science, spirituality, and art is all inside of my pyramids.
Well, I'm gonna say this: everybody should get a pyramid. So now you see that is her contact information. You'll either make a screenshot, take a picture with your phone, do something, and make sure, for those of you who have some interesting thoughts along there or with the quantum physics, she will take your call.
Yes,
I does not mind, and she does. And I mean, she's rare, but she will take your call. There is no question about that. And so for those, let me do this again. I want to show everybody now. These pyramids, now when they're sold, there are no duplicates. Am I right?
Correct.
That's it. When you get
they may be similar, but they'll never be exactly the same.
Yeah, because I got 4 and they're not exactly the same. So I'll bear witness. All righty. So these are her pyramids. That please get them and go to her website, Audrey 77 on Instagram. That's where you are on Instagram, right? Yes. And then that way you can see Audrey. But this is her information. Audrey, I want to thank you very, very much. But before we go, let me just do something right quick, my dear. And I'm just gonna, don't go nowhere. Okay. Hold on. So everybody, I want to thank you very, very much. Wednesday, I'm going to be back to take more calls, and then officially, I'll start with the guests again. All righty. So thank you all very, very much. And I want to also actually thank my first sponsor right here. They are the Sisters of the Traveling Ladies, okay, or the Traveling Sisters. I get it right. Sisterhood of the Traveling Spread. Thank you. All right, they're beautiful sisters. And their retreat is to heal the mother-daughter womb with cardology, numerology. And as you see there's Nina Diamond at the top, her daughter Aquarius Maximus to the right, and Jackie Levine there on the left. That's in New Orleans, and they are sponsoring this week's show, which I thank them very, very much for doing so. But now y'all can do your part by signing up and making sure that y'all go to New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? And y'all have a nice time. Don't forget to come back. And so that'll be good. So definitely secure your spot today. And again, I want to thank them for their sponsorship. Also, folksies, I want to let you know, too, that my newsletter is, I started to say my newsletter is for sale. That is not true. Please sign up for my January newsletter, okay? It is absolutely free. All you got to do is just go to my website, lloyd-strayhorn.com. My classes are always on sale, but if you want to get the discount, you go to lloyd-strayhorn.com and you can get those, okay? So that is to sign up for my free monthly newsletter. And so that's it, folks. So I want to get back to my beautiful guest. And so, my dear, any words of wisdom before you go?
Well, before my words of wisdom, let me just say I noticed in the chat someone asked where was the best place to place a pyramid. My pyramids love sunlight. If you have a window where sunlight comes through and it's going to hit those fiber optics, and you're going to see that shining light that lets you know that that energy is flowing through. So that's one thing I wanted to say about that. And other than that, what I always say is that we are much more powerful than we believe, and all we have to do is tap into it. I've tapped into it, and I've done things that I never thought would be possible for me to do. So I just want everyone else to get involved and, get involved with this quantum physics things, and don't be intimidated by it, and know that it's meant for you. It's all about us, and it's our time.
Yes, thank you. And for those of you who made donations or whatever they call that, chat and all those other things, I thank you very, very much. And I will acknowledge that I have kept a list of the names of people that have made donations, which was, wow, what a surprise. So, but I do thank you very, very much for that, everybody. Young lady, happy birthday tomorrow. Love you much.
Thank
All right,
you so much, Lloyd.
And keep up the good work, and we will have you back, I guess, as soon as you write that book.
When I write that book.
You write it on Monday, you be on Tuesday. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very, very much, hon. So everybody, I do want to thank you very, very much for joining us. You'll have a very nice day. Mercury will be over, in fact, on the 18th. Today is the 16th. So when I come back, that will be the last day officially when Mercury goes direct again, although there will be a residual effect. So don't just go off assuming and things like that and just jumping out of stuff. Okay. So everybody, I want to thank you very, very much. And also my very special guest, Miss Audrey Rumbers. She's the best. And that's the birthday lady. All right. Y'all have a nice day. See you then. Bye.